I'm going to take a little bit of a break from reviewing Supernatural, at least until tomorrow, and I got an Amazing Spider-Man 2 review coming up. I want to watch that movie and totally shit on that movie because I know I'm going to hate it, but let's review the first 2 episodes of Season 8 of The Big Bang Theory, the locomotion interruption and the junior professor solution. So Season 8 of The Big Bang Theory aired on Monday night as part of a double episode special. It's on Mondays for the first 5 weeks because CBS got stupid football games on a Thursday time slot now, so that's why The Big Bang Theory is on Monday. So I'm going to start, obviously, with the first episode of Season 8, the locomotion interruption. So the locomotion interruption takes place 45 days after the events of the Season 7 finale. Sheldon's now at a train station in Arizona. He doesn't have any pants. All his belongings got stolen. He's asking people if they've seen his belongings. He even asks a woman who's knitting if she's knitting an extra pair of pants for him. And I forget what happens. I think he tries to take somebody's suitcase, or somebody calls the cops on him and he ends up getting arrested, so he calls Leonard. He's like, hey, can you come and get me in Arizona? So Leonard's going to Arizona. He asks Amy if she wants to come along, but now Amy's pissed because Sheldon called Leonard over Amy. She thinks Sheldon should have called Amy because Amy is his girlfriend and Leonard's just his friend, and that if anything happened, that he should have called her because she's the girlfriend. So they go to Arizona. They go to get Sheldon back from the police station after he makes a couple of cool Sherlock Holmes jokes about the police officer. They come, they go get him. He makes another joke. They get back in the car. They're going home, and the big revelation comes. It's like, Leonard, I want to have coitus with Amy. And you can hear the live audience at this part. They're like, oh. And they're like, I just didn't want her to think. I called you because I didn't want her to think I couldn't make it on my own. And she ends up hearing this, and she's like, well, I'm very proud of you for trying. They get back home, and Sheldon's like, I'm ready for anything, any change that comes my way. And he opens the door, and there's Penny. She's got short hair. She's got a pixie cut. She's like, oh, look who's home. And he walks out. He's like, I can't take it. Your hair is different. I can't take it. Meanwhile, the other 2 stories in the episode, Penny, with short hair, still hot, don't worry, she is interviewing for a job at Bernadette's pharmaceutical company, and she goes to the interviews with the guy. The guy's like, I've seen the guy before, I don't know who he is, but he kind of comes across as like a douchebag, and she doesn't think she does very well at the job, so she's like, I'm sorry, I blew this job interview. Bernadette wanted me to get this job so bad. I was trying to make her happy, but I don't think that's going to happen. And then the pharmaceutical president, whatever the hell you want to call him, just like, wait, are you afraid of Bernadette? And Penny's like, yeah, I'm afraid of Bernadette. And he's like, me too. So yeah, you're hired. And then the other story to go along with this episode is that Howard feels like Stuart is getting way too close with Howard's mother. He thinks they could actually be like sex partners. So they start to argue. He's upset. Stuart even comes over to try and explain himself to Howard, but Howard's just like, no, I think you're banging my mom, so yeah, go away. They get into a huge argument. Howard ends up calling Bernadette his mother again, but in the end, everything works out. Everything works out. It was a solid premiere episode. I don't think it was as funny as the second episode that aired after this. The second episode that aired after this was pure hilarity. And now we move into the second episode, the junior professor solution, rather. I'm sorry. This is an episode where the Human Resources Department suggests that Sheldon teaches a class as a replacement for his dropping of string theory, and he's not a big fan of it. Nobody wants to take his class. Everybody thinks he's crazy. The only person that ends up taking his class is Howard Wolowitz. So the whole episode, Sheldon doesn't believe that Howard can take this class. He doesn't think Howard is smart enough to take his class. So when Howard enrolls, he's like, I want you to be a good teacher. I will only take this class if you're a good teacher. So so for the rest of the episode, pretty much, Sheldon's just going around trying to think of ways to make this class hard for Howard so he can prove to Howard that Howard's not a smart guy and that engineering is a shitty career to go into. Howard ends up sticking with it. Sheldon does just that thing to Howard Howard's like, well, if you're going to be a shitty teacher, I'm going to be a shitty student. He throws a spitball at Sheldon, which was pure hilarity. This episode is just pure hilarious because it's the interaction between Howard and Sheldon in this episode that makes it funny. It's Sheldon trying to prove to Howard that he is not smart, and Howard trying to prove to Sheldon that he is smart. And it's just pure hilarity. The dialogue between these guys is wicked funny. And I don't want to spoil any of the jokes, because I want you guys to see it for yourself. And if I told them, I wouldn't tell them right, so they wouldn't be funny. And, I mean, but, like, you're just watching, you're like, that's hilarious, that's hilarious. There's even one part with a spitball that was hilarious. And Sheldon got wicked pissed after that. It was funny. There is one joke that I will mention, and it's that Sheldon even eventually goes on to compare the spitball to an STD, which I thought was hilarious, because he's trying to get it out. It got shot into his mouth, so he's trying to get it out of his mouth, or he's trying to have Leonard get it out of his mouth. And Leonard's like, no, Sheldon, a spitball is not an STD, or something like that. So I thought that was one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard on this show. Comparing a spitball to an STD, yeah, that's hilarious. And especially because it's coming from Sheldon. Sheldon's not really the sex kind of guy. He knows what STDs are, and he obviously hates them, but it's like, he's not a guy who bangs his girlfriend like Leonard does. I mean, hey, well, Leonard, he's got Penny. I'd bang her too, but, you know, so... I mean, it's funny coming from Sheldon from, like, that point of view, that he's, like, this crazy scientist guy, and I thought it was funny. Meanwhile, the other story of this episode has Penny blowing off the review, like, trying to review the drugs for the pharmaceutical company, and Bernadette's not getting very happy with her. She's like, hey, you should review this material so that the company thinks you're smart and that you know what you're talking about. And then Penny's like, no, I don't have to do it. I can just train on the job when I'm there. What's the point of doing it? Then they get into a whole argument. Amy gets caught in the middle of it, and I thought that was hilarious too. The way Amy acts in this situation is hilarious. She's like talking to them on the phone. She's cracking jokes. She's like, let me know. She's like talking to Penny. She's like, let me know if Bernadette's a huge bitch or something. It was funny. I'm not really going to talk more about the jokes in this episode because I don't want to give it away, but all in all, I thought the Junior Professor solution was a better episode than the Locomotion Interruption. The Locomotion Interruption was funny. I did laugh in a few parts. I didn't laugh that much in that episode. It's one of the few Big Bang Theory episodes that I didn't really laugh in. I mean, the earlier episodes, yeah, they were trying to find like their groove on what to work with jokes, like the first season or so. But this one's just one of the more recent ones where it's just like, it's kind of funny, but not really. The Junior Professor solution, holy shit, that was funny, yeah. That was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off. I had to give a grade for these two episodes. I'd say so far Season 8 is a pass. I think it's going to be a fun season. What season of The Big Bang Theory isn't fun? I think we're going to be in for a really fun season. It's going to be funny. I can't wait to see the other ideas they bust out for this show. I think next week is the one where Howard throws out the first pitch at an Angels game. I'm not an Angels fan. I'm going to watch it, though. I'm a big baseball fan, especially the Sox. The Red Sox, that is. I'm going to watch it. It's a baseball episode. I like baseball. I like the show. I like the characters. I'm obviously going to tune in every week this show is on. And I'm going to see. I really don't know what my favorite season is because I like all the seasons of this show. But so far, Season 8 has a pass. And I know it's just 2 episodes in, but we got to look at it like, it's 2 episodes. It's setting up kind of the vibe the season's going to get, the jokes that might be thrown out. I mean, there's no season plot line per se. I mean, you can say like the relationships are the plot lines of the show. There's no season plot. It's, these sitcoms, they don't have plots. They just bust out random ideas every time, and they're pure comedic genius. So I will be tuning in next week for The Big Bang Theory. The first 2 episodes of this season are a pass, and as always, for more reviews on movies, music, video games, and TV shows and TV show episodes, I'm adding that into my criteria now. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button.